There we go. Look how bright my face is on that ring light. Right, morning everyone. Happy Monday. I hope everyone is just flying today and having a good start to the day. Welcome Instagram Live. All right, LinkedIn. Good morning YouTube. Good morning Facebook. So today we're talking about up here the brain, the old mindset. We're going to see what we can manage to get done today, and I've got some things I want to talk to people about. Starting off our week in the right way is so important. We're going to be jumping into Clubhouse in about a minute, and then we're going to break down around about 5 different areas. But I want people to really hang about on this because there's going to be something we're going to talk about, and this is going to be something which we're going to be breaking down every week now. We're going to have Monday mindset. Tuesday, we're going to have a team call. Wednesday, we're going to have one. Thursday, we're going to have one. Friday, we're going to have one. And the idea behind this is going to be that every single day, you're going to have a place that you can go, that you can come to, that you can get the help, the guidance, support that you need within your business. And I think it's really important. So this isn't about trying to get people to buy something. We've got enough clients, very fortunately. But I want to make sure that you're getting help that you need, the guidance you need, support you need. So we're going to be streaming this out. Now, on the other side from it, there's some other great benefits. We're streaming over 5 places, maybe 5. So we're Instagram Live, LinkedIn, YouTube, Facebook group, and in Clubhouse. So 7 places. So today we can manage to talk to 7 different groups of people. So if there's only 2 people in one place and 5 in another and 20 in another, and in the Clubhouse room normally there's about 100 to 200 people at any one time. And the idea behind that is every single person tuning in, there's a reason that you're tuning in. There's something you're not getting at the moment, or you're just trying to do the Kobe. You're just trying to keep your saw sharp. You're trying to keep your 3-point game razor sharp with what you're doing. And I think the vast majority of the time, people are going through the habits time and time again, and we're not taking the time, we're not taking the effort to actually get things done in the right way to a high enough level, to a high enough level that you can get to the next stage within your business. Because wherever you are right now is based on your mind, your ability, your belief, your skills, a number of different areas. And what we want to be doing is getting you up to that next stage. We want to be getting you to the level where you're going to deliver for exactly what you want. And that's the whole point behind this, is to take things up to that next stage, to get us to a position where we can deliver time and time again exactly what we need to do, how we need to do it. And that's the whole idea behind this, is to get us to a position where now we're going to thrive within the business. Now we're going to thrive in what we're actually doing. And that's the whole point of what we want to make sure that we're doing. Because if you're not taking the action you need to take right now to get to that next stage within your business, it's going to put you in a position of weakness later. And I'll give you a prime example of this. Morning, Jan. Hi, everyone who's coming in on Clubhouse. Hi, Jan. How are you? Oh, I don't know what's happening here. Guys, come back in 30 seconds. We're going to close and restart the room. Lam, were you saying to close it and then restart it?
Yeah, because actually it's okay because this one doesn't have replay. Although there might be a problem with notifications going out if I did not open the room. But maybe we'll close and reopen if that's okay.
Yeah, that's fine. Do you want to do that then? Close the room down. I'll close it down now, and then I'll wait for you. All right. Thanks, Jan.
Yeah, sure. Thank you.
Okay, so we're closing and reopening that room up. So hang around for just a minute. The funny thing is, anyone who doesn't use Clubhouse, get yourself on there. It's so important because Clubhouse really can make a massive difference to the way you grow. And a lot of people talk about things like TikTok and other things like that. But we've got to make sure that we're getting things. There we go.
David, okay, great. It's really glitchy this morning. And hopefully this will work now.
Yeah. I don't know what's going on. It seems to be a bit crazy today, Clubhouse. I don't know if the new changes they've made have done something.
Yeah, usually with the algorithms, they would send more notifications to members if the leaders of the club opens the room. So that is why I was maybe thinking, if we close and reopen, it might be slightly better. But
so that's just open now. There's 150 people in the room already.
So thank you
Why it's
so
important.
much, David, for bearing with us. And
it's really, really important. If you're trying to impact people, making sure you're doing things in the right way, that's going to make you get to the right place. If you're in a room on your own, doesn't matter how great your words are. It doesn't matter how great your words are, how inspirational the words are. If no one hears it, it's not going to help you. And that's the big problem for a lot of people. And that's why we want to make sure we're coming to the next level. Right now, 7 places, we've got about 250 people. And it's really important to know what you're trying to do. If you want to impact more people, you've got to, more people have to hear us. Because if they're not hearing you, how can you impact them?
I would also love everyone to please click
it's
on
really, really important. And I want everyone to realize that. You can have the best words, but if people don't know you, if people don't hear you, how can they be inspired? How can they be changed? How can you impact them? And that's really what's important.
If you have a question to ask,
so hang around. We're going to jump into this in just a second.
Or for David on the sales and business side, feel free to 2 ways you can get in touch with us and let us know what your questions are. Number one, you can actually put your question as your share. Now, when you hit that share button, by the way, I believe you can share multiple times. You can actually put in your question there so that we would be able to take a look. And if we feel that this will be suitable for everyone to hear about, we will answer your question here in the room. Or if you don't want to use that, you prefer to ask privately, you can message me on Instagram. And just don't use the Clubhouse back channel because neither of us check it. So please don't use that. I always get stuck in there because I haven't checked my back channel very often ever since. So please only use these 2 means. Either use
1 minute, maybe 2. We're going to jump straight into it, so hang about.
Tell us your share or your question. If you have a share, let us know what it is, and we'd love to bring you up so that you can share with the entire room as well. Now, we're here to discuss how to control your mindset in business, right? So I'm going to start with a very concise tip from.
So when we're talking about our mindset itself, think of it like this.
For a masterclass for everyone. Now, in the context of business, especially I'm going to talk about idea validation, and I'm going to talk a little bit about the trading and investment side, and specifically how to deal with trades that fail. I think these are the 2 most important mindsets that I always get asked, from my mentees. I would love to share a little bit with everyone. Now, I am an entrepreneur and an investor in medtech space, and my first share is about the context of business and idea validation, right? Because I really feel that as an entrepreneur, I totally understand that feeling, right? When you have finally found a solution that you think will solve a real life problem. And it's like that moment is really exciting. And because of that excitement and that passion, we basically a lot of us tend to rush straight into building a team and an MVP. And I do feel for a lot of startups, that could be one of the reasons they fail quite early on in the early stage. Is because, after idea generation, they rush into building a team and MVP without first properly validating their idea. I think it is a mindset problem. Now, validation of idea can be done in many ways. You can do market survey, you can do a lot of research on the internet. And by the way, when I say market survey, I am not.
So in about 2-3 minutes, we're going to get started. And I appreciate everyone who's tuning in. So the aim behind this, again, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, 5 days a week. We're going to be here to deliver some different training. So if you're sat in your office, you work at home, and you're at the stage where you want to get more results, which is going to be very much based around actionable, tangible, practical things. Today we're talking mindset. I think we can all want to get our mindset a little bit better at times. And it's really, really important to take some relevant actions that you can actually go off and deal with that. Those lights keep flashing. Anyone who's on my Instagram live. They keep flashing for some reason.
whitelist. This is
Don't know if it's just a
also a great
focus.
way,
So whether you're on
to
LinkedIn,
idea, and a lot of
Facebook,
people call this technique
Instagram
traction,
Live,
will be super helpful when it
YouTube,
comes to fundraising.
think
But
about
for
where
other
you're at with your
businesses as
business
well,
now.
and you can definitely start talking about
And
your
we want to
ideas
work out,
to investors,
when we
right?
know what the
It's
key
easy
problems
to
that we're going
pitch, but
through,
you can
we've
pitch
got to
it
work out
technically
what are the
in a
steps. And
way that
most
you
people
really
out there that have
understand
come before us will have took
and I
these
think
paths.
that is a great vital way
It's really
to
important.
confirm that your idea or your solution has
Too often
potential
people
to
don't take the
succeed
time.
under current market
We get
conditions.
consumed
I
by
do
it.
feel this is a growth mindset that
And I
we
think it's
need
one of the
not
biggest
to
problems for most people right
not
now
to be arrogant
is we're looking to
think
try
that,
and get new
whatever we
results,
come up with is
but we
the
can't
gold and no one else knows the
because we're
market
doing the
better than us.
same
And at the
actions.
same time, not to be,
Do you see what I'm saying?
lacking in confidence in ourselves.
So if you go off and do same actions, you get same results.
In fear of
And that comes the same from our mindset. If we think the same thoughts, we're going to come to the same conclusion. And we don't want that.
In itself, right?
There's an exercise we're going to cover in a bit, which is really, really, really important.
My mentees in the trading space as well is basically before you put on a trade, you really need to think about the different scenarios of how this trade can
Jan's a
fail.
really
Now,
impressive
that
lady.
sounds like
If you don't know who she is, go and check her out. The tattoo's healing now, by the way. Scabs up.
Can't speak today. But but when you have those scenarios in mind, that can help you to have a game plan beforehand. And that is, super important. And then the second thing is, you need to be able to treat failed trades as part of your daily investment life, because this really helps you to have a framework in terms of sizing your trades, in terms of studying the volatility, and also to for you to know at which point you would basically be stop lossing your trade. Don't ever go into the market without any plans in mind, because the market, especially this year, is going to be moving really quickly, and you really can't be once the news have come out already, then you start to think about what should I do. That is most likely too slow. So, these are the kind of things that I feel from the mindset side can really help us to become more successful as entrepreneurs and as investors. Now, with that said, I would love to pass the mic to David. I know that he has also prepared a masterclass for everyone about how to control your mindset to be successful in business. So over to you, David. Thank you so much for being here with us.
Jan, as always, thank you. Anyone who's not following Jan, go check her out. She's probably one of the most impressive people on Clubhouse. And I find that anytime that she talks, she brings a lot of wisdom to what she talks about. But I think she explains things in such a clear way. Also, it's great to see people like Rob and Peter and Swafey are here as well, plus a lot of regular faces that are in the audience. It's really, really important with our mindset. Now, I tell people this, not because I impose on people, but when you're looking at your mindset, I'll tell you this part of it that will just make more sense. I spent a huge amount of time in my adult life thinking that I had a good mindset. But what I want you to do is, and imagine this for the moment. Imagine for the moment I put a weighted vested jacket on you that weighs 10 kilos, but you never knew it was on you. You just had that weight. Now, if I put that onto you now, you're automatically going to feel a difference and you're going to go, okay, I need this off me to go back to where I'm operating at the right way. The big problem is with a negative mindset, with our mindset and the way it works, it's like there's a gram being added every hour. And what happens is over time, you end up in a position where you've got a weighted vest that's invisible attached to our bodies. And that's literally what happened with me. For me, I spent a vast amount of my life thinking this is fine, this is fine, this is fine. This is normal. This is how everyone feels. This is just something I'm going through. But actually what happens is I was adding a gram here and an ounce there. And over time, that in the same way when Jan talks about compounding our interest on things, ends up really causing a big problem. And the problem is because you've only had a gram out in a day and a gram here and a gram there of negativity and a bad mindset and bad habits, we don't notice the big difference. And the reason I say this is really important. That cost me everything, because over time it became too much for me to bear. And if you end up in a place where your mindset isn't looked after in the right way, you end up in a position that it's like the straw that broke the camel's back. The straw wasn't heavy, right? But it was the abundance of straws over time that had been put on there. So whether you're sat there now and you're thinking, okay, my mindset's great, whether you're sat there now and you know that your mindset needs work, what I want people to do is look at some of these areas within your mindset, because there's a lot of things that we can do within our business, within ourselves, within our life, personally, financially, through whether it's with your family, whether that's within the business itself, that can change it. Because when we look at our lives, the way that we live our lives is based on our experiences and our beliefs and all that type of jazz. But the problem is, a lot of us aren't going through what you're doing today with an active decision-making process on how do I want to react at this moment. The reaction to a situation is normally based on our previous experience out there. And that just means for us ourselves, we end up in a position that we're not being conscious about the way we react. So say if I have 10 bad situations that go through and I react to everyone badly, when the 11th one happens, I just automatically lean towards that same habit. So what we've got to be able to look at are what are some of the simple things that we can do internally. Now, here's the caveat I'm going to tell you. These aren't going to cost you any money. These are going to take time. These are going to take some effort. These might take some failures. But it's about the long-term vision of what we're trying to work out. I talk to people all the time. One of the first things when we're changing our mindset, we've got to look at what is our self-talk. Now, everybody can wake up in the morning and be, okay, today's going to be a great day, guys. And we can all think that way. But what do you do? What is your talk like when something happens? When you stub your toe? When you come out and someone's took your space, you're blocked in, there's a bit of traffic. And that self-talk can massively change your day to either a positive or to a negative way that day will come through. For me now, and what happened, and we go, oh, it's going to be one of those days. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean negative, but for most it is. And we almost accept it, and we're trying to internalize it where we're saying, okay, I can deal with this. It's going to be one of those days. But just because something started bad doesn't mean it will end bad. For me now, I have my mind programmed, but when I've gone through 3 or 4 things really kick me in the morning, I normally give myself 10 minutes, get over it, move forward. And at that point, I say, okay, right, normally when X happens, when 3 or 4 bad things happen to me in a row in the morning, my day normally finishes really strong. Now, that change in my self-talk was a dramatic difference for me because it lifts you out of it. When something bad happens, our self-talk can put us in a prison. It can mentally, completely and utterly restrict us on what we do and how we work. We can start telling ourselves we're not going to be able to do it. These things always happen to me. This is just what goes on in my life. Oh, I'm used to it. It always goes wrong. I never achieve it. Now, sometimes we do it to try and soften the blow. But all we're doing is lowering our expectations. We're lowering our belief. And that's why often we get the low results that we get. Because there's a self-fulfilling prophecy, but based around the self-talk that we've got, that completely throws us out. Now, if we're going to sit here and go on stages and we're going to talk to our friends and talk to our clients about living outside of our comfort zone, one of the best places in the first places for us to do that is actually with our self-talk. Because if we go off and we organize the way we talk to ourselves and we restructure the way we talk to ourselves, it's going to feel strange at the start. It's going to be uncomfortable. But that's part of living outside of our comfort zone, is to live uncomfortably for a while. Here's the big thing I say to everyone about self-talk. If you're used to and you're comfortable with talking negatively, you won't even be aware that you're doing it a lot of the time, because you'll have a justification behind it of why we go through that way, why I deal with it that way, why I talk that way. And it's really, really important that when we're in business, we've got to work out what we do. So what can we do initially with our self-talk? Well, first off, we can change our language. And now, even if this is when you're talking to yourself, and this is the big thing a lot of people think about changing your language and your self-talk, it doesn't have to be what always is coming out of your mouth. You've got to correct yourself internally. You've got to change the way you think as well. So when you talk to yourself internally, what is it that if we were listening in inside your head, what would be the words we'd hear said? Would there be one thing coming out of our mouth, but inside we've got a negative version of that that's coming through? Now, another thing we've got to do, we've got to work out if we're going to change our mindset and we're going to control our mindset, we've got to work out what is going to be the instant reaction, the instant action that we will take to adjust that mindset. Because it's really, really hard to seem like you're depressed if you're bouncing around the room. It's really hard to say that you're really tired and sleepy when you're laughing really loud. And what happens is with our mind, we trick ourselves all the time. So once we've started looking at the fact that, okay, I'm going to readdress my self-talk. I'm going to work out the language I use internally and verbally to be more positive, to be more aligned with what we're going to do. Then we've got to work out what are going to be some of the action steps that we're going to take. Now, everybody out there is great at when things go right, knowing what to do next. Everybody writes their goals out. When I achieve this, then I'll achieve that. And when I do this, then I'll do that. But actually, part of a serious plan should be about what am I going to do when I don't want to do it? It's a big part of this a lot of people don't look at. What am I going to do when I feel like crap? What am I going to do when I feel down? What am I going to do on the day I don't want to do it? Now, some people say take the day off. I'm cool with that. I don't mind people taking the day off. Of course, take a day off. But a lot of the time, if you take a day off because you don't fancy it, the next day often you don't fancy it either. And the day after you don't fancy it. So you come in at 30% power, 50% power. So what are we going to do to go from that low point to get us back to full power? Because that's what really matters. If you're at the stage now, but you can cut down the time scale from when something goes wrong to being back at full power. Imagine you're trying to do a 100-mile journey, right? Something gets in your way, a roadblock, and it stops you down. Bang, stops you dead in the road. Now, if you go back to 10 mile an hour, right? 10% power, 10% of your effectiveness, and you stay there for a day, and the next day you get to 20, the next day back to 30, and it takes you 10 days to get back to full power. To get your distance, to get your destination is going to be far harder and take far longer. But what we need to do is work out with our bounce back ability how we can reduce that time scale from when things go bad to being back at full power, full steam. And this is why this is so important. Because when we get a roadblock in front of us, when something gets in front of me now, we have to think about, what do I do? No, I'll lay my cards on the table. There's certain things that happen that make me throw the pen on the floor and go, crap, what the hell? Today was going so well. Now, that's not a problem. We're all going to have negative thoughts at some point. No one out there is like, I'm 100% positive all of the time. It doesn't happen. And we need to stop comparing ourselves to that type of mentality. What we've got to work out on is when that happens, if I throw my toys out the pram, if I have a sulk, if I get grumpy, if I get annoyed, what will I do to change that state? But there's part of us as humans that often when something goes wrong, we enjoy that sad point. We bunker down. We kind of get into that mood where we don't want to come out of it. But actually, if you're having a bad day, and you know what your go-to, we've done it in sales for years. We're going to, and they'll have a deal song. What's that song they play that just changes everything for them, that's unique for them? Maybe there's a clip that you watch, a motivational video, a funny sketch. It might be the fact of your phone, your kids, your wife, your husband. What's the thing that you are going to do when the bad stuff happens? Because bad stuff will happen. That's just a fact. It'd be arrogant of us to think that we're going to go through business, through life, without anything ever coming across our path that's going to dampen our mood. Someone's never going to annoy us, never going to upset us, never push us on the back foot, never do something against what we want. No one's going to get the deal that we wanted, get the girl, the husband, the man, whatever it is that you wanted, get the parking space that you wanted, the holiday that you wanted. No, we're not going to go through life with all these wants, needs, and desires and get it fulfilled to us. So what are you going to do when that happens? Some people are great at this. It's water off a duck's back. They just go through. But normally those people have more than one iron in the fire. The big problem is, and this is for, say if you're in business and you've got one big deal and everything hinges on that deal, you put so much pressure on that deal, it becomes stressful. And that ends up putting an internal stress into you. You overthink it, you worry about it, you're concerned about it. What about this and what about that? So as soon as something little happens, it becomes a big problem. So what we've got to work out is, what are we going to be doing within our business? Because our mindset is down to us. Wherever you are with your mindset now, doesn't matter what's happened in the past, doesn't matter what's gone on, who's done you wrong, what's gone wrong, what happened to you, good childhood, bad childhood, good relationship, bad relationships. Whatever our experiences, it might not be our fault where we are right now, but it's 100% our responsibility to go from here, right now, today, to move forward with it. And at every single point in your life later, for everything that comes along later, every time someone trips you up, messes you up, screws you over, it doesn't matter. It doesn't need to be your fault, but you can take 100% responsibility and go, right now, I'm going to do this. And this is why so many people don't control their mindset. I used to be the same. Because I would, when something happened, I would go into, no one likes to hear it, victim mentality. Well, why me? Why this? Why that? I needed this. I needed that. And if you go through that mindset, it's harder to get back to the full level of capacity because we internalize it. But when you can parry that off, when something comes into you and you go, what next? What can I do right now? What's something you can do right now? So in your business right now, say you've got a problem right now, something is going on, something's going wrong. What is the one thing you can do right now today to do it? Not to fix it necessarily, but to move towards the remedy. Too many people are like, oh, I don't know how to fix it. Okay, we'll do something towards it. Oh, if I can't fix it, I want to get a full plan before I start. No. It's about us going off and doing it. And there's a few things that come into this. And I talk to people about a lot of this type of thing. We've got to accept responsibility for where we are today. But we've got to have a level of determination behind what we do. We've got to have some courage. We've got to have some persistence. And here's why. If you get some determination behind what you do, it's going to help you overcome the unexpected when it appears. When you've got a level of determination, you're not looking for the easy wins. You're not looking for the easy victories. When you've got a high level of determination, it enables you to keep focused when there's a storm going on. But too often we're half baking our cakes. I talk about this all the time. We're going from one level to another, trying to get the easy victories. But when you've got the determination, your determination sets you aside because you're prepared to operate at a higher level. When things are great, brilliant. But we hear the adage before. It's far better to be a warrior in the garden than a gardener in a war. And in business, business is not going to always be easy. There's a huge amount of competition that's out there. People are not going to buy just because they need your product. Hiring and firing can be hard. Like there's 101 things. And this is why when we move to the next point, it's really important. It's really important to have a high level of courage. I Googled this earlier. Courage, a courageous mindset is a willingness to adapt to changes. It's resilience against what may seem to be an unstoppable force with the use of creativity, intelligence, and courage. It allows us to stop playing safe so we can enjoy the rewards of true leadership and enduring success. So if we're going to be courageous, everyone can be courageous when it's easy. But when we've got a high level of a high secure mindset, when we've got a high level of determination, when we've decided to be courageous in the face of adversity, When we get the next stage, a high level of persistence in what we do. Now, this doesn't mean go off in the old school mentality thing of being persistent with people in sales that don't want your product or service. None of that. I'm talking here about if you're going to be persistent. We spoke last week about, or the week before, about everyone sucks at the start. So whether you're new at something now or you're trying to get to the next level, going where you are now to the next level, that is a new level. So there's going to be a part of that you're going to suck at it. But too many people get to the stage where the equivalent of being a semi-professional footballer, they're better than most people around them, but they kind of get to the next level. When you get to the next level, new devil. We're going to have a resilient mindset. We're going to have a level of persistence. We're going to have some courage. We're going to have to stay determined with what we're trying to do. Benjamin Franklin said before, energy and persistence conquers all things. Now, business is draining. You're going to be emotionally drained. You're going to be pushed mentally, physically. You're going to have patience. You're going to have people around that doubt you continuously. But the idea of being a business owner or an entrepreneur is that we're taking a risk for the idea of the future result. If we're looking for a guarantee within our results, you're better off being an employee. So if we know we're going to go and do something that other people can't do, we cannot expect for those people to believe in exactly what we think. And I think this is why when we're controlling our mindset, it's hard. Because often we want reassurance. We want people to understand. We want people to empathize with us. We want people to be supportive. But you're on a different path to a lot of those people. And if you're on a different path, you cannot expect to walk the same way. If you want to make a big change in this world, you have to do things that are bigger and different to what other people are already doing. Otherwise, you're walking in the path that someone else has already trodden. So we look at where we're at right now, and we want to get our mindset right. And we go, okay, well, what am I going to do? Who in my industry is kicking ass right now? Who has kicked ass in the past? And I don't care whether people like them or not. If someone has done well, whether you like them or not, they will leave a clue for you on things that can be done to improve what you're doing. So then when your mindset isn't working and you're questioning the way that you work, you're questioning why things are going wrong, look and lean to other people and see what they did. And then you can build up a plan. When you don't have the confidence in you, when your belief in you is a bit down, a bit shattered, your antenna has gone off a bit wonky, you can go off and find what they did in these hard times. Go and pick up a book on people from within your industry that have turned around and done things that were the unthinkable, that have delivered on the things that no one believed that they were going to do. It's great reading a book that's going to take you to a new place. But often we need to turn on the taps a little bit more for where we're at right now. Like putting a turbo on the back of what you're doing to give you an accelerated belief, execution, and mindset so that you can go out to marketplace and you can deliver to a higher standard on what you're trying to do. And for the vast majority of the time out there, people don't do that. Now, I'll finish on this and we're going to do some questions. Do this for a moment, anyone who's watching this. I want you to imagine, close your eyes if you like. Imagine the whole timeline of your life from where you are now to the end of time. And close your eyes if you want, visualize it, or just think about this. Imagine for a moment the very best version of you. Like the best one that you can imagine. In your whole life, what will that point will look like? Now imagine that person is stood right in front of you right now. Now imagine, how do they stand? What's your first impression of that person? How do they carry themselves? What clothes are they wearing? How are they financially? How do they speak? What's the impression that people get from that person that they can see? How would you want to be regarded? Where do they live? What car do they drive? Where do they go on holiday? What's their family life like? What's their friendship circle like? What's their networking circle like? Now, that is all in the potential of what we have within ourselves. Because if we can think it at all, there's a chance that you can go off and achieve it. But here's the big thing we've got. To step into and become that person that you've just imagined is going to take change. It's going to take a different mindset. It's going to take new actions. It's going to take some failures. But here's the big thing that we've got. When you're 80, 90, 100, whenever you're going to get old, the vision that you've just had right now, that thought you've had right now, you can either look back on your life when you're 80 as that as a memory, or you can look back as massive a level of regret. But the thing I can guarantee for everyone out there, no one's going to come and build that version of you that you just saw. That person you just imagined will only happen if you create it. For the vast majority of us, we're waiting for someone else to bring the clothes, to bring the car, to help us with this and help us with that. But they're building their own version of them. So their focus is on their version that they're creating. So if we don't want to end up at the life where we have the regret, if we don't want to end up where we're looking back at from 80 when we're too old and we can't do the stuff that we want to do to build this dream, and we'll be telling it as a story of regret and a warning to everyone else, we've got to work out, what am I prepared to do in the times right now to get me to that stage? And it all starts, the whole thing starts fully with our mindset. Because it doesn't matter how strong you are. It doesn't matter what skills you've got. If your mindset isn't set in the right way, if our mindset isn't programmed in the right way, if our mindset isn't there to become that person you've just imagined, that you've just envisaged, it can't happen. Because all of those things to go from where we are now to being the best version of us is going to take all new actions. It's all uphill. There's no magic pill. No one's going to build it for us. So we've got to make sure that we go out and build it for ourselves. Clubhouse people, I've spoke for a lot, so I need some water. Who would like to share some tips or feedback on the back of that? Hey, Jan, over to you.
Hey, always come here for asking questions and giving feedback. Thank you so much, David, for that.
Right.
Masterclass.
Good to see you all.
I really want to kind of highlight what you have said.
Good to see everyone here. We're going to jump into this one now and do a bit of a Q&A. Pop in tomorrow. We're going to be doing some role play as well.
AI